Hi, I'm Anne Edwards. Thanks for joining us once again on Face Off. Now, in 1996, the National Fatwa Council issued an edict or fatwa prohibiting Muslim women from taking part in beauty pageants. Fatwa was gazetted as law, and anyone found actually not adhering to this law will be punishable by a 3,000 ringgit fine or 2 years jail or both. That fatwa has surfaced again as 4 Muslim women were disqualified from a Miss Malaysia 2013 contest recently, and this prompted NGO Sisters in Islam to question the procedure in which this edict has been formed. They have questioned the fact that it is un-Islamic and undemocratic. Let's hear more from our guest in the studio. Welcome, Ratna Osman, who is Executive Director of Sisters in Islam, and Ernie Chen has joined us. How are you doing, Ernie?
Doing fantastic. Very excited to be here today.
Great. Sisters in Islam stand on the entire issue. Perhaps you'd like to reinstate that, yeah, Ratna?
First of all, of course, we issued a statement right after when the whole thing appeared in the news about the banning of the 4 contestants. We totally disagree. We question the fatwa itself, and how is it that, you know, there's issue of fatwas for beauty pageants, and then, you know, not covering some other pageants that are not women. And we also, in our statement, questioned about the whole process of how fatwa was made into law in Malaysia.
But isn't it fundamentals of Islam to cover up women? Why would Sisters of Islam be encouraging, promoting this beauty pageant where it's going to be revealing all these women?
Yeah, like yourself, yeah, Ratna. This is the attire that is Islamic. Is that not right?
Well, to answer to your question, Annie, if you look at our statement, we did not even talk so much whether we agree or we promote beauty pageant in itself. Yeah, and that is a whole discussion on the right of a person. You know, whether he wants to be in a Mr. Universe bodybuilding contest, or whether she wants to, you know, promote or she wants to show her talent or whatever that she has. I think that's the right of a person. And when you talk about Islam and how Islam view of a woman's body, then of course we look at the original text of the Quran, where it does talk about, you know, covering yourself and taking care of your modesty and being, you know, women of chaste. But then again, there's a whole lot of discussions. Even Islamic scholars are talking about, you know, what exactly is chastity and modesty.
So as far as knowing beauty pageants are concerned, women are known to wear bathing suits. They are known to wear very tight body-hugging clothing. Yeah. From your perspective, is that okay or is that not okay?
Yeah. Again, I want to stress, you know, it's all about the choice a person made. Yeah, if that person wants to show off her beauty in that sense, then, you know, who are we to stop them? But in this particular pageant, because of the sensitivity, especially it's going to be held in Indonesia, I think there was some relaxed condition given to the Muslim ladies that they were allowed to wear long pants. Yeah, and we mentioned that also in our statement, saying that, you know, why is it they are still not allowed to go through the beauty pageant, since they are allowed to cover themselves.
So, but the edict is very clear, or the fatwa is very clear, and this was reinstated by the minister himself, Jamal Johar, saying that, look, the fatwa says no taking part in beauty pageants. Doesn't matter whether you wear long pants or, you know, I would think that even if you covered up yourself, you still cannot take part. Is that, you know?
Then where do you set the guideline for this fatwa that you are not allowed to enter or organize or be part of a beauty pageant, when we know recently in Putrajaya there was a beauty pageant for Miss One Malaysia? that is a beauty pageant. Why was that allowed? You know, there were if it's not about whether they cover or they don't cover, then, you know, it's about beauty pageant, then why was that allowed? And there's a lot of other, you know, Ratu Remaja, Ratu whatever in Malaysia, which is allowed. Is it because Miss Malaysia / World, Miss Malaysia / Universe, then, you know, the higher authority in the Islamic department then say, okay, this is banned. When it comes to on Malaysian soil, it's okay. So where do you draw that guideline, and where does fatwa actually take effect? And fatwa is silent.
Can you take the fatwa to the Sharia courts and to sue them and challenge them?
I don't think you can challenge them. I think there has been actually discussion about, you know, I think probably some people even said that they want to challenge it. I'm not really, I don't have that particular knowledge on how you go about challenging a fatwa, but certainly in the public domain you are allowed, which what Sisters in Islam has been doing, you know, for the past 20 years, looking at issues concerning Islam and Muslim women especially, and putting it or throwing the issues back to the government or to the authorities and said, look, this is not as clear as ABC. You know, there are a lot of things that you can actually discuss, especially when it comes to fatwa.
And now they say the action can be taken against those belittling Islam and also the fatwa itself, that they can be punished by a fine of 3,000 ringgit, jail of 2 years or both. So that makes it a criminal offense already. Yeah.
So we disagree on that, because I think you were quoting on the investigation of the 4 contestants.
Right.
Especially I think 2 of them were really outspoken on their disagreement. Look, they were frustrated, so they voiced it out. Does it mean that we are not allowed to voice our frustration in our life?
Well, the law says it that you cannot.
Well, you know, if you look at that, they're just saying that, oh, I wish, you know, that we could go, but because we're Muslims, so now there is this fatwa, right?
So in the Al-Quran or in Islam, is there a guideline as to how a woman should be dressed and how a woman should be presenting themselves that every Muslim Malay woman should be abiding by? If you don't, that's why you are considered as against Islam.
And most of all, is it mandatory?
Yeah. It does say there is a chapter, Surah An-Nur and also Surah Al-Ahzab. It does talk about a woman's chastity. It does talk about if you want to stop people from disturbing you, so there is a message of security here, yeah, then you need to cover yourself. But you have to also look at the context of the verses. Yeah, we talk the reason, asbabun nuzul, the reason for the revelation of such verses from Quran must take into consideration to explain why God revealed such ayat, yeah, such verses. So the 2 elements that I've spoken earlier is about chastity and it's about modesty. What is modesty and chastity in 7th century Arabia, and what is chastity and modesty in 21st century Malaysia? Is it still the same, or we have progressed so much in our civilization, in our society, that, you know, Muslim women in 7th century Arabia is very different than what you have now today, if you look at me even.
But Ratna, as you look at the way you dress and you look at one of the beauty pageants and the way they put on makeup, I would choose to rape her more than I would choose to rape you if I were to do such an act, because it does allow a man's mind to go crazy, because at the end of the day, the religion is supposed to protect, as you mentioned, safety, security. So the idea of making sure that they are covered up is so that they are protected. And is that wrong of the fatwa then?
So if an owner of a house build a beautiful mansion, lavish, you know, beautiful, and this man look at it, you know, will say, I'm going to rob. So
it will appeal the person much more, just like Kari Jamaluddin's house. He lives in a much bigger house, and it sure enough attract someone to go into his house more.
Yes,
it's just more appealing.
More appealing, but still it's on the onus is on the perpetrator, on the criminal, not on the person who's being attacked, not on the house that has been burglarized.
No denying on the fact that the house will be burglared, but the fact of the appeal factor, the lust factor that is in human beings, that we see a woman that is dressed more sexily, more appealing with makeup and her hair not covered up, we would feel
She's
that intention.
asking to be raped. That's what Ernie and probably
I
half
can-
the people
I
in
can
this
give
country
the same argument,
think.
you know. I can give the same argument if a male model with just underwear, you know, walking on the catwalk, let's say, right? And he's just so attractive that, you know, a lot of women just look at him
Yeah,
and said, "Oh my God, I want this man." And it happened in Quran.
that's right.
When
And-
Zulaikha.
And it doesn't
Yeah.
stop the female in lusting towards the bodybuilders who are so beautifully defined
With the 6 abs.
with the 6 abs. And I'm sure it's the same thing. So I'm not saying that that the men should not be covered. I'm saying that they should both be covered up to protect and to not allow and to welcome rape incidents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And which brings us to the sports issue, which is also under question now. There may be a fatwa also disallowing Muslim women from taking part in sporting events like swimming and gymnastics. And this has been, you know, definitely not welcomed by the minister himself, Khairi
Yeah.
Jamaluddin.
Yeah. And I agree with him. And, you know, where will this stop? You know, if you want to control, it's all about the control of a person's body. And usually it's easier to control a woman's body because a woman is deemed to be the holder of culture, you know. I just give you one very good example. We have influx of Arab tourists here. But if you look at all the shopping complex, if you go to KLCC, you will find a group of Arab family, and the man will walk around with his slippers and his Hawaiian flowery shirt and shorts, but the wife will be covered head to toe in black, you know. So he gets to choose. This is a time when I cease to be an Arab. I take off my garment and I become a tourist, right? But she has to be an upholder of culture and her religious identity, and must always come with her abaya. And now, you know, does it mean that a man is allowed to do anything and whatever he please, but a woman, no, you have to be.
It looks that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because
it looks that way.
during my studies, I studied Islamic religion, and one of my texts is called Princess. It's actually a book that was written by a princess in Arab Saudi, and it's a banned book. And one very specific incident stated by the princess in Arab, correct me if I'm wrong, I just want to be educated. A woman's clitoris is to be a sunat, so that the women do not get pleasure in the intercourse in their sexual marriage, so that the woman will never cheat on the man. And the man will always use the woman just for his own personal sexual pleasure. That was stated in the book.